Welcome back, everyone. Today we're unpacking a massive milestone in the life cycle of any security assessment. We're talking about the Day 37 Professional Penetration Testing Report. Now, if you've been following the journey of a security audit, you already know that Day 37 is that critical make-or-break moment. It's where everything finally comes together and all that raw data transforms into actual actionable value. So let's jump right into this explainer.
Okay, so our source material breaks this report down into its raw, essential building blocks. We've got the executive summary, the risk rating, the CVSS, recommendations, the overarching project, and finally, the comprehensive professional client report. These 6 elements, they're literally the fundamental DNA of professional security communication. I mean, without even one of these, the entire structure can just totally fall apart.
Here's our quick blueprint for today. First, the Day 37 project. Second, the executive summary. Third, risk rating and CVSS. Fourth, recommendations and the project. And fifth, the final professional client report.
Starting right off with Part 1, the Day 37 project.
Moving right along to Part 2, the executive summary.
So what exactly is the executive summary? Well, it's the section of the report that bridges the gap between those super complex technical findings and the professional business value for stakeholders. Basically, think of it as a vital translation layer. Look, a CEO or a board of directors might not know how a complex network protocol exploit works on a granular level, and frankly, they really shouldn't have to. But they absolutely need to understand the real-world impact that vulnerability is going to have on their business operations, their reputation, and of course, their bottom line. This section is what translates all those technical bits and bytes into business risk and revenue protection.
All right, let's hit Part 3, risk rating and CVSS.
Now, this is fascinating because there is a huge, vital difference between these two distinct metrics used in the report. On one hand, you have the risk rating. This is a broad assessment of the threat level designed for general understanding. Think of it as a straightforward high, medium, or low label. Super easy to grasp. But on the other hand, you've got CVSS. That stands for the Common Vulnerability Scoring System. And this is a highly specific, totally standardized technical metric. So the risk rating gives a manager quick context, right? But the CVSS? That gives the rigid, universally standardized numbers that mitigation teams rely on to prioritize their exact technical workflows. So both are absolutely essential, but they serve entirely different functional audiences within that exact same report.
Which brings us to Part 4, recommendations and project.
The entire mindset of this next phase really hinges on just one crucial question. How do we actually fix what we found? At this point, we're moving from looking backward, analyzing those vulnerabilities, to forward-looking, actionable mitigation. Because a world-class penetration test doesn't just point out flaws, it provides the actual map to security.
So first up are the recommendations. This is where the report details the really specific, actionable, and highly technical fixes for every single vulnerability found. Then you have the project phase. This takes those individual recommendations and outlines the broader execution and integration of those fixes across the entire network. It's a really logical flow. You go from providing these highly targeted, isolated technical recommendations and then frame them within a broader, manageable project execution plan, a plan that an organization's IT department can actually implement without accidentally breaking their existing infrastructure, because nobody wants that.
And finally, Part 5, the professional client report.
The professional client report is truly the ultimate deliverable. Everything we literally just explored, the executive summary speaking to the board, those CVSS scores guiding the engineers, the strategic project recommendations, it all culminates right here in this one single document. And honestly, this proves a vital lesson for anyone studying this field. The technical battle on the keyboard, that's really only half the job. The work simply isn't done until this final, polished, comprehensively structured report is delivered right into the hands of the client.
So I want to leave you with one final kind of provocative thought to chew on. If a critical vulnerability is found by an attacker during a test, but it is not clearly and effectively communicated in a professional report, was the penetration test actually successful? Masterful communication is just as critical as technical hacking skills when you finally reach Day 37. You simply have to be able to explain it, to secure it,